Welcome back, listeners. We're kicking off another deep dive. This time, we're taking a look at something both fascinating and maybe a little cringeworthy. Online trolls.
Ah, yes, those mischievous creatures. It's interesting, isn't it? How online spaces meant for connection and community can also attract these, shall we say, unique personalities.
It's like opening up a shiny new park and then, whoops, you accidentally created a paradise for, well, pigeons. You know what
Indeed. And just like pigeons with their interesting habits, trolls come in a variety of species, each with their own way of disrupting things.
Speaking of species, the article we're looking at today calls them the trolls of Planet X. That name alone is pure gold.
Quite imaginative and pretty fitting considering how strange some of their behavior seems, especially for those of us who genuinely want to connect online.
Okay, before we dive into this digital jungle, I gotta ask, just how big is this troll problem? Are we talking a few bad apples or a full-blown infestation?
Well, the good news is most online interactions are positive and constructive, but trolling, no matter what form it takes, is a real issue that can really affect the health of online communities.
Makes sense. So let's meet some of these infamous trolls of Planet X, shall we? The article lists a whole bunch, and honestly, I'm both curious and a little scared to learn more.
Excellent. I believe our first encounter will be with the sly Scamicus.
Uh-oh.
A creature of cunning and deception. This troll thrives on exploiting trust and naivety.
Oh no, not the scammers. They're like those digital pickpockets, always lurking, waiting to snatch your virtual wallet. Have you ever bumped into one of these sly Scamicus yourself?
Let's just say I've learned to be very cautious about any messages promising incredible riches or, claiming to be from a long-lost relative.
Right. Who hasn't gotten that classic, "you've inherited millions from a Nigerian prince" email? It's basically an internet rite of passage at this point.
Right.
But seriously, how do these sly Scamicus actually work? What are their tactics?
Well, they're masters of disguise and manipulation. One common tactic is creating fake profiles. Mimicking real organizations like banks or government agencies. They often use urgent-sounding messages to pressure you into giving up personal information or financial details.
It's sneaky. Imagine getting an email that looks exactly like it's from your bank saying your account's been compromised.
Yeah.
Anyone would panic and click without thinking.
Exactly. They play on our emotions, exploiting fear and urgency to get past our defenses. It's a good reminder that even online, you've got to verify information and think critically before doing anything.
All right, so we've met the sly Scamicus, lurking in the shadows with their fishing nets and fake identities. Who else is hiding in this digital jungle?
Next up, we have the misinformator Gloomius. This one thrives on spreading negativity and, falsehoods. They're like that person at a party who just brings everyone down with their doom and gloom pronouncements.
I know exactly who you mean. They love to go on about how awful everything is, how the world's ending. It's like they're allergic to positivity.
Indeed. And the article points out that the misinformator Gloomius often uses doom scrolling as a tactic, bombarding people with negative news and misinformation, often to create fear and discord.
Doom scrolling, that's the perfect word for it. It's like falling into this black hole of negativity online. You should stop, but it's so hard to look away. How can you even tell if you're dealing with a real news source or a misinformator Gloomius in disguise?
That's where critical thinking is so important. It's crucial to check where the information is coming from, look for evidence-based reporting, and be wary of those sensationalized headlines, the ones designed to trigger a strong emotional response.
Good point. Basically, if a headline makes you want to scream or cry, maybe take a deep breath and do a little fact-checking before hitting that share button. Okay, enough gloom and doom. Who's next on our troll safari?
Let's head over to audio platforms where we might run into the shouty Audio Rex.
Oh boy.
A creature of volume and aggression, this troll dominates conversations with their booming voice and constant interruptions.
I can practically hear them now. It's like they think the louder they are, the more right they are.
Precisely. They lack patience for nuanced discussion and resort to aggression to control the conversation. A good reminder that even in audio-only spaces, communication needs respect and consideration.
Totally. Everyone communicates differently, but nobody wants to feel like they're being cornered by a digital T-Rex.
Speaking of feeling cornered, our next troll is known for creating uncomfortable situations. It's the harassing haranguer.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good. I'm guessing shouting isn't enough for this one.
Nope.
No.
The harassing haranguer takes things further. They're all about intimidating and bullying others, often using personal attacks and just relentless negativity.
It's crazy how some people act so terribly online. Is it just because they're anonymous?
Anonymity definitely plays a role. The internet can shield people who might act differently face-to-face. But it's important to remember that what happens online has real consequences.
Right, being online isn't a free pass to be awful.
Mm.
This reminds me of this time I saw a harassing haranguer attacking someone in a comment section. It was brutal, so personal, I just wanted to jump in and defend the person.
That's a natural reaction. But a lot of times, engaging with a harassing haranguer only makes things worse. The best thing to do might be to report the behavior to the platform and support the person being targeted.
You're right. Ignoring it isn't always the answer, but sometimes it's better to step back than fight a losing battle. Okay, let's move away from the negativity for a bit. Who's next on our list of digital weirdos?
How about a troll that's less malicious and more, well, annoying? Let me introduce you to the babbling timewasttius.
Babbling timewasttius. That name already sounds like someone who loves to talk your ear off. I think I've run into this troll in plenty of forums.
Probably. They're masters of pointless conversation. Derailing discussions with totally irrelevant tangents and just endless rambling.
Oh, I can picture it now. You're in an online group, having a good discussion about something specific. And then, bam, the babbling timewasttius appears, starts telling a story about their cat's birthday party, which then somehow reminds them of a vacation they took 10 years ago.
Exactly. They might not mean any harm, but they just can't stay on topic. It can really kill a good discussion.
It's like verbal diarrhea. You want to be polite, but you also want to scream, just get to the point. Okay, let's go back to the darker side of the troll world. Who else is lurking out there?
Ah, yes. Brace yourself for the spam-boticus. Not a very creative name, but definitely descriptive.
Spam-boticus. Sounds like those annoying chain emails we all used to get. Forward this to 10 friends or you'll have bad luck for 7 years.
Well, chain emails might be a thing of the past, but the spam-boticus is alive and well in our digital world. Their whole goal is to flood online spaces with those unwanted messages and ads, often disguised as normal content.
They're like those digital whack-a-mole games. You block one account and 2 more pop up in its place.
Exactly. And they can get pretty sophisticated, often using bots to create fake accounts and spread their messages everywhere.
So it's not even a real person behind a lot of these spam messages. Wow, that's both kind of cool and really sad. Like, imagine spending all your time trying to trick people into clicking on shady links.
Maybe it's best not to think too hard about what motivates the spam-boticus. Let's move on to a troll that's a bit more, well, two-faced. The mimicking positroll.
Mimicking positroll. Now that's interesting. So they're not openly mean or aggressive.
Not at first. The mimicking positroll is a master of deception. They blend into communities by copying positive interactions, acting supportive and friendly.
So like a digital chameleon, changing colors to fit in. What's the point of pretending to be nice, though?
Well, their real intentions are usually not so good. They might use that fake positivity to manipulate people, spread sneaky misinformation, or just stir up trouble within a group.
That's so sneaky. It's like they're playing the long game, gaining trust just to betray it later. How can you even spot a mimicking positroll before it's too late?
It's tricky, since they're so good at blending in. But sometimes their positivity just seems a little forced, a bit too perfect. Pay attention to anything that seems inconsistent, any little attempts to put others down, or a tendency to steer conversations toward controversial topics.
Good tip.
Yes.
It's like, even in the seemingly nice parts of the internet, you got to be careful. All right, who else is on our troll tour today?
Next up, we have the Doomsday Caller, a creature that just loves predicting the worst possible outcomes.
Oh, no, not another gloomy one. Is this the online version of that friend who's always saying the sky's falling?
Could be. The Doomsday Caller has a knack for finding the dark side of everything. They thrive on fear and anxiety, often predicting terrible events like they're certain it's going to happen.
I think the Doomsday Caller and the misinformator Glemius might be related, like cousins or something. They both seem to really enjoy spreading negativity and making people feel bad.
Interesting thought. Maybe they share a common ancestor somewhere in troll evolution. But while the misinformator Gloomius is focused on spreading lies, the Doomsday Caller really specializes in fear and anxiety, taking real events and turning them into these doomsday prophecies.
It's like they have this special ability to find the worst possible way to look at any situation. The key is to not let their negativity get to you, I guess. Easier said than done sometimes, though.
Definitely. Staying skeptical and focusing on reliable information can help counteract all that doom and gloom.
Great advice. Okay, so we've met the scammers, the gloom spreaders, the shouters, the bullies, the ramblers, the spammers, the manipulators, and the doomsayers. Are there any other troll species we should know about?
We do. There's still a few more to meet. Let's talk about the merchant of fakery next. This one is all about profit and, of course, deception.
Merchant of fakery, huh? I'm picturing someone selling snake oil in some digital marketplace.
A perfect analogy. They focus on selling fake products or services. They use misleading ads and exaggerated claims to trick unsuspecting buyers.
It's like those street vendors selling knockoff designer bags. You know, the ones with the misspelled logos and shoddy stitching.
Exactly. It just goes to show how important it is to be careful when shopping online. Always research the seller, read reviews, and if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Good advice. If it sounds too good to be true online, it probably is. All right, who's the last troll on our list? We've covered quite a few today.
Last but not least, we have the conspiracy theoraptor. This one loves creating elaborate stories about hidden agendas and shadowy figures.
Conspiracy theoraptor. Love the name. It's like they're obsessed with uncovering some massive conspiracy, even if they have to make it up themselves.
You got it. They see patterns everywhere. They connect random events into these grand schemes involving secret societies, government cover-ups, maybe even aliens.
It's like they see the world as this giant conspiracy board with everything connected by red string, like in those documentaries.
Great visual. It's important to remember that while some conspiracies might be real, a lot of them are based on speculation, misinformation, and a lack of critical thinking.
So how do you even deal with a conspiracy theoraptor? I've tried having rational conversations with people who are deep into conspiracy theories, and it never seems to get anywhere.
It can be tough. They usually have this unwavering belief in their theories, no matter what the evidence says. As sometimes the best thing to do is just disengage. Don't give them the attention they're looking for.
Yeah, like arguing with a brick wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to walk away.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a wild ride through the digital wilderness. We've met some interesting characters today.
We have, from the deceptive sly Scamicus to the rambling, babbling Time-Wastius and the conspiracy-obsessed conspiracy theoraptor. The world of online trolls is definitely a diverse and, at times, confusing place.
So, after exploring the habits and habitats of these trolls of Planet X, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? How can we navigate the online world safely and avoid becoming troll food?
The most important thing is awareness. Now that you know about these different types of trolls, you're better prepared to recognize their tactics and not fall for their tricks.
Like having a troll field guide, right?
Yeah.
Spot them a mile away.
Exactly. And remember, if something online seems off or too good to be true, it probably is. Don't be afraid to question information, check your sources, and trust your gut.
Be a smart online citizen. We need to be just as careful online as we are in real life. Any other tips for our listeners before we go?
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to curate your own online experience. You get to choose who you interact with, what content you see, and how you spend your time online.
Right. It's like we're all curators of our own little digital museums. We decide what to display and who to let in.
I like that. And lastly, remember that you're not alone in this. If you run into a troll, don't hesitate to report them to the platform moderators. There are also lots of resources and online communities dedicated to fighting harassment and promoting a healthy online environment.
Great advice. This has been a really insightful and, I gotta say, entertaining deep dive into the troll ecosystem.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Before we wrap up, I have to ask, the article mentioned a Trolls of Planet X website. Is that real?
It is. It's a great resource that goes even deeper into the world of trolls. It gives you tips for identifying and handling them. We'll put a link in the show notes for everyone.
Perfect. So, to all our listeners, now that you've met the trolls of Planet X, we hope you'll explore the online world with knowledge, awareness, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Remember, with a little vigilance, we can all help make the internet a more fun and productive place for everyone.
Well said. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay troll-free.